Alex, thanks very much for joining us, mate. I'm keen to pick your brain on maybe firstly, just what are some of the trends that you're seeing in with your users and investing more generally?
Ben, thank you very much for having me. Of course, as you mentioned, Stake is a trading platform that offers access to the US market, and some of the trends we're noticing on the platform is a real favoring of the stocks that I suppose define the future. And it sounds a bit cliche, but it's stocks like the autonomous vehicles, the electric vehicles, a lot of crypto stocks as well, a lot of clean energy, renewable solar power stocks that really in 10, 20, 30 years you expect to be quite common and quite prevalent in our day-to-day lives. They're the stocks that are really most popular on our platform, as well as the big tech stocks.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'd see a lot of people with the tech, but it's I just finished a whole podcast series on sustainable and socially responsible investing, and we're definitely seeing a lot of, I've noticed, it seems to be more prevalent for younger people, but generally more and more for all ages of people that they're really investing with their, I don't know, investing with their hearts maybe, or with their view, not just their heart, but with their view of like what the future is going to hold, and really backing some of these technologies in. And I got into some really interesting conversations about what that, the flows of capital going to these firms, that it's sort of like almost self-perpetuating, that then it fuels the next wave and the next wave of growth, and then some of the less the stocks that have been less in favor, things like fossil fuels and those sorts of companies less so, which tends to then there's a whole bunch of flow-on effects, which I'm sure you would understand better than me. But I think it's interesting to see so many people picking the more sector specific type investments. One of the things that you touch on there is around crypto stocks. Can you tell us, for people that aren't aware of that there are shares that help people invest into different cryptocurrencies? Can you tell us a little bit about what's actually available there?
Sure. So one of my favorite quotes or saying is that those who made the most money in a gold rush weren't looking for gold, they were selling picks and shovels and axes. So we see stocks like Coinbase, of course, one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world, actually became our biggest IPO in history. We had more volume through that stock than any other listing ever. And I suppose it buys into that idea that instead of trying to pick specifically which crypto is going to change the world, so buying shares in the exchange, which is offering access to that crypto and sort of taking a cut on a transaction every time someone's buying and selling these cryptos. So Coinbase, I suppose, is the premier example of ways to access the crypto market through the stock market. On top of that, we've got stocks like MicroStrategy. Of course, Michael Saylor is CEO of MicroStrategy. They're an internet services business, and they were relatively anonymous until about August last year, when the company announced they were adding thousands of Bitcoin to their balance sheet. They converted half their balance sheet to Bitcoin. And since then, it sort of became a proxy for Bitcoin, a way to access Bitcoin through equity markets, because you're essentially buying this balance sheet loaded with Bitcoin rather than the internet services business it once was. It's a bit of a weak proxy. It's not perfectly correlated, but it's one way some people who perhaps don't have access to crypto or are restricted with what their portfolio can invest in choose to access crypto in that way. On top of that, there's all the blockchain development companies, the blockchain related ETFs as well, that people who are looking to buy into sort of a trend rather than any specific crypto are looking to as well.
Yeah, I saw one of the bigger or maybe more noted examples of this was Tesla adding all of that crypto to their sheet as well, which is a pretty tidy trade for our dear friend Mr. Musk, putting on like $500 billion or whatever that number was at a time when it then shot up and clearing out afterwards, not without its risk, I suppose, for the businesses, given that you are investing in a business that is an operating business that has a whole bunch of other factors outside of that, but no doubt a bit of cash made on that.